Welcome to our live stream of high school sports. Please note that this broadcast is produced by an independent team of sports enthusiasts, and the views, opinions, and commentary expressed are solely those of the commentators and not representative of the schools, teams, or athletes featured. While we strive for accuracy, occasional errors or misstatements may occur. This stream is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. Thank you for joining us and enjoy the show.
Yeah, come on, let's go. Hey, you ain't never seen nothing like this. Ain't no telling how it might get. It's the hypest right here. High school sports at its finest. So many highlights, you have to rewind it. Hey, Stream City, let me just remind you. The heart of a lion, a team full of fighters. So many stars on the field, it'll blind you. They're giving everything they got till the time's up. Yeah, legends in the making. History is made. We just getting started. You ain't seen a thing. YSN, gotta know the name. They gon' bring the flames. They gon' do their thing. Take it to another level, don't hold back. High school, got a passion and we show that. Got the drive and you know they got the heart. Number one spot for your high school sports. Let's go for the win. Hey.
And hello, everybody. Welcome inside the Joe Dickey Electric Scoreboard Show. I'm Anthony Hartwig, and that's Anthony Malone. We have the literal A-team.
Keep it straight, everybody.
Week 6 in the books. It was a good one. We had a lot of good matchups. We had some blowouts, some surprises. We're going to get it all to it. We'll also have the announcers from the biggest games pop on today and talk to us about the games that they were at. Anthony, you were at 1-2, and we'll talk about the game that you were at. Pretty big surprise in its own right down there in Poland.
Yeah, very shocking.
Very dominant performance by the Bulldogs. We'll get to it all here on the scoreboard, which we will run down before we get to any announcers. We'll go through it really quick. Like I said, a lot of scores here, Beaver Local and Union Local. It was 33-14. Union Local gets the win over Beaver Local. Cardinal Mooney takes care of business against Boardman, 35-7 in Stambaugh Stadium. A big win for the Cardinals. East Liverpool lets out some frustrations on Cambridge, 34-0. The final score there. Western Reserve and Campbell still playing in action right now. Campbell leads 24-19 in the fourth quarter.
You can put that game on here on ysnlive.com along with this one. But back to the scores here. Youngstown East 14, Howland 18. A close game there. A little bit of a surprise for some of our folks here. But Crestview 28, closer game than I anticipated. Brookfield with 12 points there. Some of the younger guys getting really involved in that game. Conneaut 46, Jefferson Area 21. That is a final score. And then a big blowout there by Cheney. Cheney 54, Niles nothing. That final.
Yeah, Cheney got a big start, never looked back. It's all Cowboys. We go into Ashtabula County. Geneva had a heartbreaker against Perry last week. They bounced back with a win over Edgewood, 42-14, your final score. And everyone had their eyes on this Canfield-Hickory game. And Hickory-Dickory Dock, the Canfield Cardinals are for real. 21-10, they get the win over the Hornets. Hubbard gets the win over Struthers, 31-6. And then Springfield all over Jackson Milton, 42-6, the final score there.
Liberty coming away with a victory against Newton Falls, 56-0, our final. Girard continues their season on. Another high-scoring game for them, 35-0, our final. Lakeside 21, Madison 53, still going on in the fourth quarter last reported. We'll check to see if that is of course final. A Champion 13, LeBray coming away with the victory 38, that is our final.
And then we go into Louisville, bouncing right back with a win on the road. They beat Kansas City Catholic 21-0, a shutout for the Leopards. More than one shutouts on the season this year. That defense is for real in Leopard country. How about Perry dominating against Lutheran East, 41-6 for the Pirates. Middle Ridge, we all wondered what they were going to be like on the road. Pretty good on the road.
For the first time.
48-16, they beat Lowville. And then Salem and Alliance are still playing a very high-scoring game right now. As of now, it's 49-34 in the fourth quarter. A lot of offense in that one.
And for United beating Leetonia tonight, 49-8, our final. My alma mater, Columbiana. I can't say this is that often over the past few years. Very excited for them against Southern. 30.
Want Want to do a clipper clap for the Columbiana?
No need for a clipper clap here
No?
tonight here. You can if you would like, but it's still nevertheless a victory, 37-14 for the Columbiana Clippers, their final. Oh, Garfield, 48, Southeast 10, final. Poland, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Poland, 34, South Range, nothing, snapping a very, very long win streak for South Range over spanning many years in the Northeast state. A shocking score that we'll talk a little bit more in depth as we continue on.
We definitely will. We go into the EOAC, still being played right now. Valley Christian trying to come back on Lisbon. Right now, the Blue Devils are trying to hold on to a 31-27 lead. They are in the fourth quarter. This game went a long way. I mean, it was in halftime when most of the games were going into the fourth quarter, so it might be a bit before this goes final. But it's a close one right now. Lisbon holding on to that 4-point lead. East Palestine is 6-0. It is still all good in Bulldog country as they beat Wellsville by the final score of 40-6. Beaver in PA gets the win 42-6 against McGuffey, which I think is one of the coolest high school names.
It's a fun name.
Oh, it's so fun to say. McGuffey. Okay. Well, they didn't have a great football night. That's for sure. Great name, not great football night. McDonald gets the win over Waterloo, 47-13. The final score in the MVAC Scarlet tier.
Look at Warren JFK. Warren JFK, 53. St. Thomas Aquinas, nothing. Needing that much-needed victory for JFK. Fairport Harding, 19. Pontoon Valley, 14, our final. Orange, this game's still going on, folks. You can tune in on ysnlive.com right now while still listening to us. Harvey, 49. Orange, 35. Last reported in the fourth quarter. Mohawk also in the fourth quarter. 28-21 against Union Area PA. That game's still going on. Last reported in the fourth quarter. We'll try to get you some updates there. If you want to keep that game on, of course, we have our announcers over here. If you want to hear the savory voices of both Anthonys, I would recommend keeping that one on instead, though.
You know, this is one of the most anticipated games in the state of Ohio this week. Walsh Jesuit coming into Akron to take on the Knights of Hoban. And Hoban gets a touchdown with about 40 seconds left.
Unbelievable.
And wins 19-14 over Walsh Jesuit. A big win for the Knights for sure. West Branch all over Minerva, although the Lions look a lot better this year. They came into this week 4-1. Just not on that level yet to the West Branch Warriors. 56-6, the final score there. And last but certainly not least, Wyndham travels to Matthews, and the Mustangs get the win over the Bombers. Final score there is 40-14. 40-14, Matthews gets the win over Wyndham. We'll go back to the scoreboard towards the end of the show to give you one last look at it. But first, let's go to our announcers. We have a couple of them. Matt Romeo came in first, and he had a good game at Stambaugh Stadium. Matt, how we doing, buddy?
We're great. You know, always a pleasure calling a game at Stambaugh Stadium, my old stomping grounds over there at YSU. And, I mean, such a great facility. They host, you know, when they host high school football, they do it first class just like they do everything else. But great game great matchup between Mooney and Boardman there. Mooney kind of dominated this one. And, you know, the story of the game is, you know, Vincent Gentile last week dominated. It was the Vinny Gentile show. But this story of this week, Ike Lake back in the lineup for Mooney. And it just, while he had a couple big runs, he didn't quite dominate. You could tell it just opened up the offense for Mooney. It just added that dimension. Mooney was all pass last week, and the run game was the theme of the night for Mooney tonight.
So when you talk about this matchup, I think people came into it thinking it was going to be pretty competitive, and Mooney was able to just take it for a ride. What was the difference maker, you think, in the Cardinals game tonight?
Their defense. I mean, 100%. Rocco Zabel, leading that defense. He's the middle linebacker, and he brings the energy. And they just going up against that Boardman wing T. And I talked to Coach Timmy Marlowe, the offensive coordinator for Mooney, before the game. And I said, what are you guys going to do to defend the wing T? You know, I'm a Boardman guy, so they've been running the wing T offense forever, the jet sweep off of that. And teams would kind of try to play to the side of the motion. And I asked him, are you guys going to do that? He's like, no, we're just going to play straight up base defense. And they really kept contained and didn't let Boardman get much. I mean, I think there was one long run, from Boardman that got down inside the 5, and Mooney makes a big stop off of that. But other than that, I think they had one other big drive in the second half, got themselves back in the game. It was 21-7. We thought, me and Vince Tatey, who does an amazing job on the color commentary, by the way. We we thought we were gonna have a game there, and then Mooney answered right back.
Yeah, I was just a surprise, Matt. You know, Matt, me and Matt, of course, called our games last year in playoffs, so it's good to see Matt as always. Matt, was it one of those things I used to harp on a lot about penalties and turnovers and special teams? Did that really play a factor at all in tonight's game for Boardman, or was it just Mooney just was finding ways to find victory in the repertoire more so than the other?
You know, it was Mooney finding ways, and Mooney really answered the call on a couple of adversity plays. So Boardman, as I mentioned, they come out first half. It's 21-0. They come out in the second half and they drive down the field. They score. Well, what do they do? They kick an onside kick, a surprising onside kick that actually the same kind of onside kick that got to Mooney last week, where the kicker just kind of surprisingly dribbles it right in front of him and lands on it. You know, that Pat McAfee move. And they how did they answer that? A couple plays later, they stripped the ball out of the running back. So Mooney has done a great job this season of, you know, when they're faced with adversity, they don't get down, they kind of answer the call right back. And Boardman, just aside from a couple of chunk plays in the air, which they didn't run many, they just kept beating their heads against a wall with the wing T and couldn't find much space to run.
Yeah, when you talk about beating that wing T, not as easy as some people might make it look. What were the things that Mooney was doing so well on defense to kind of stifle that complete offense and like you said, make Boardman keep having to just ram their heads into a wall?
I think you have Letlow, who's just a freaking house. I mean, you go to a Mooney game, look for number 1 out there, because even when I'm watching him in warm-ups, I'm like, this dude, he's playing in college somewhere, because he's just huge. Him and Johnny Brenner, they got off the bus first. I'm scared. But so between him and Rocco Zabel, he is the straw that stirs the drink on that defense. He's all over the place out there. So I really think he's the difference maker on that defense. And then Jay Manningham, he's actually filling in at safety tonight. Not the biggest guy either. Had a punt return for a touchdown tonight. He comes up and makes some hard hits as well. So, because you're right, that wing T, it's not so easy to defend. There's a lot of cutbacks that are designed in that between the trap and the lull play. But Mooney's defense, they must have studied in film, because they answered the call.
As we look ahead, Mooney next week with a matchup with Cheney. Boardman will be at Warren Harding. Let's talk about this Cheney-Mooney game. What do you think the Cowboys can do, try to come in? Cowboys had a very impressive win tonight. They were all over the place, and they were dominant. What are some things that the Cowboys are going to have to do if they want to slow down the Mooney team that looks so good tonight?
Well, they're going to have to defend the pass, because one thing that Boardman did really well tonight is they defended the pass. I'm going to give, and I played with him in high school, Mike Popio, the defensive backs coach. I think he might be the defensive coordinator as well at Boardman. I mean, Vinny Gentile tried to throw deep. He's got an arm, but every time he took a shot, there were 2 Boardman defenders there. So they defended really well in the pass. If Cheney can duplicate what Boardman did there, they'll give themselves a chance, because, I mean, Cheney, I haven't seen them that much, but I've seen their scores. And I know they put up a fight against Canfield, and, man, they are sneaky good. I think that could be a ball game next week.
All right, Matt, we will look forward to wherever you may be next week. I don't know what game you're scheduled on, but we know it's going to be a good one wherever you're at. Thank you so much for, 1, an amazing call this week, and then 2, coming on the Scoreboard Show and talking about it.
Right back at you. Thanks, A-Team. Appreciate you.
I like it. He knows what's up.
Yeah, he's there. He's on.
Knows. Matt Romeo, once again, what a great call of the Mooney and Boardman game from Sandball Stadium. We go from him to another great announcer that is usually a staple of the Scoreboard Show, and he called United getting the big win over Latonia. It is Mr. Derek Rhodes. Mr. Rhodes, how are we doing today? Thanks for coming on.
Good evening, gentlemen. How we doing?
Oh, we're doing good. Not as good as you, my friend, but pretty good.
So, yeah, United kept doing what they do. A big win. And, do you guys want to talk about the elephant in the room with Latonia?
It depends on the elephant. Let's
I'll tell you what. Being a man of the people, I was out there today. along the Bear faithful, and overwhelmingly, they're ready for the move. My personal thoughts aside, they're ready. I'm stifled with the travel and things of that nature, but the Latonia Bears are ready to move on from the EOAC, and they cited that Matthews game in week 2 where they were competitive. They got the win. So it's heartbreaking to me. I don't like it personally. I'm the kind of guy, and you guys seen this, Anthony, I knew a team in Salem that in a baseball year that in 2018 won 3 games, 2019 won 7 games. They had 3 seniors that decided they were sick of getting their teeth kicked in, and they beat the number 1 team in the state for a regional or a district championship. Lane Rhodes and Preston Markovich and Nick Coletta. So I don't know, man. Latonia people are happy. They're wanting to go, and there's some people in that area of the world that think that more people from the EAOC are following them. So who knows, man? It's just a wacky time, I guess.
As we talk about this game, Derek, there's one thing I want to ask because we didn't get to catch exactly what happened on the audible call. We were watching. It was right at the beginning of the game. United was down at the goal line. We're like, okay, they scored, so we went off to the next game. And when we looked back, Latonia had the ball in like the 30.
Yes,
and then United had the pick 6. So go through that whole sequence of events and what drew us to that.
Yeah, so this has been a trend the last 2 weeks with United that I'm finding kind of scary. They're turning the ball over. They fumbled into the end zone, and it was recovered by Mattia, and he went, to midfield, and they turned it over, I think, 3 times tonight. So looking forward to next week, I don't think they can do that against Palestine.
When you think about, you said Latonia, and obviously that pick 6 was huge in that drive because Latonia was actually even after the midfield. They got into about the 30 before that turnover. How big of a momentum spark do you think that was for United to be like, okay, let's take care of business here. Let's get a big play and make sure we don't instill hope into this Bears team that needs it.
You nailed it, Anthony. That was the start of a lot of defensive plays for the United defense tonight. They also had a scoop and score off a strip by Wyatt. Excuse me. Scoop and score. One of their defensive linemen ended up scoring after a Wyatt Swanson strip. So they had two defensive scores tonight. They set the tone. The defense did. 49-8, and they took it easy. I think, gamesmanship, sportsmanship was being shown tonight.
Right.
But it's just heartbreaking for me. I hate seeing a team in Columbiana County leave that league. It's just, I'm a Columbiana County guy. I like that, all that spaghetti bowl stuff. I'm a big fan of all of it, so, but like I said, Latonia, they're ready. And I heard a couple of the fans on the way out tonight. Thank God we don't have to play United anymore in football. So they're ready. As many of us that might not be ready for our own personal reasons, they are. And I'm not a taxpayer there. I don't, so if that's what the fans want, God bless them.
So another play that really caught our attention. It was late in the game, of course, but the way Latonia got in the end zone, the big man touchdown, giving it to big old number 68. I like seeing that. I want to see more 68s get touchdowns. That's what I want to see.
We're big fans of that. They actually called back a 2-point conversion that a lineman scored on, which I called on the call. I think that's communist. You shouldn't do that.
It's definitely Canadian. We'll get him some Canadian maple syrup. Just for that. For that call.
Right. So they did end up getting that 2-point conversion, and it was late in the game. I think that, and I also made the comment, I think the United JVs will be doing extra cleaning duty in the locker room because they gave up the shutout. but nonetheless, on to East Palestine, and that's going to be a good
Yeah.
one next week, man.
6-0 East Palestine
Yeah.
next week. Derek, quickly preview this game and what
Yeah.
you think some of the keys are going to be.
I'm going to go back to what always works for United. It's their front. Them guys are big. They like to hit people, and they like to move people all over the place. I'm seeing more. The offensive line has always been lights out. I am seeing more now from the outside edge defenders getting upfield and making chaos in the backfield, keeping contained, not letting anybody scramble outside, and making a lot of tackles for loss and a lot of mayhem in offensive backfields. I look for a lot of that next week.
All right, Derek, we look for a lot of your amazing golden pipes next week. That's what we look forward to. What a great call, like always. Thanks for coming on. Like always, we appreciate you, and we'll see you real soon.
See you
on the
next
Go
week,
Dickey Electric
boys.
See ya.
Scoreboard Show.
All
Mr. Derek
right.
Rhodes. Whew. There it is. Mr. Derek Rhodes talking about that United game, and obviously United gets the big win over Latonia, but next week is
That's
when
a massive game for the EOAC.
Yeah.
And I know I'll be somebody who's paying attention to that game pretty heavily.
You might have the phone open while you're calling your game. Right?
It's very likely. I got that one that flips open like this, so I got 2 games playing, many more. So that's the advantage.
And while we have you, let's talk about your game now. It's your turn to kind of, because you were an announcer tonight in Poland.
I was at the game at Poland versus South Range. Yeah,
should have been a big matchup. Poland had other plans. 34-0, they get the win. Talk about what you think were the big difference makers. Yeah,
I mean, it's one of those things where we were anticipating a close game. I think all of us were anticipating a game that went a close game for everybody that was in attendance. The biggest thing that I can kind of mention is I saw things from this South Range team this week that I have never seen before in my recent memory, if not past memory. We're talking things like penalties in critical steps, turnovers when I never saw turnovers. There were just things that I typically have never seen with the South Range team. But what I also saw from the Poland side was something that has been consistent for them week in and week out, which is being able to give it to anybody, whether it be Kamara, which scored a ton of points tonight, but it didn't have to be him. A lot of people stepped up in a big way for Poland, and you saw that energy as each score happened. People were getting more and more antsy on the Poland side. They wanted to get back out on the field.
This was a game that was slow to start for Poland. It was 7-0 for a while, and then it felt like the dams broke a little bit towards the middle of that second quarter. All of a sudden, I saw 20-0 pop up on the group me like it was
right.
What was that moment where it felt like they took control of the game?
It was breaking tackles when Kamara would make a move, and it felt like he was in the zone. I mean, he was my player of the game. Where as soon as he got the ball, you never knew. It looked like there was 3 different white shirts in front of him from the Raiders. It didn't matter at times. He was able to make a couple moves, use his track speed, and get into the end zone. He had a huge touchdown that I think might have been the longest touchdown score by a Poland player in history at 88 yards.
We'll have to look into that.
Well, it's something I want to. We were trying to get that information while we were on the air, and we never got the final word.
Somebody get Brian Banfield on the phone right now. DJ Oakley comes in to us. Obviously, he was calling the East Palestine game, but he had a thumbprint on what this game was going to look like. DJ, welcome in.
Hey, sorry that I don't know how StreamYard works, but it's set. I guess when I sign on, it just throws me in. So I apologize,
fine. Yeah,
Mr.
It knows you're the boss.
Mr. Malone.
charge,
I'm in the middle, and I'm like, oh God, I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to do with my hands. Yeah, what a night, boys.
That was a crazy night.
Crazy, yeah, across the board. I'm looking at some of these scores, and I'm like, really, this is intriguing. And then you've got what I don't even know how to describe it. If I said it during the broadcast, if tonight was your first night of ever watching football and you watched the East Palestine game, boy, I don't think you're taking up the game of football. Just from a standpoint of there were, I know for sure, 8 personal fouls or unsportsmanlike conducts. A lot of flags, guys. A lot of flags. And it just killed the rhythm for both sides. You could tell it threw Palestine out of rhythm offensively. Wellsville couldn't really get going. I mean, they're battle low numbers, young team. a lot of injuries already. So, they were fighting an uphill battle. Coach Salimas did the best he possibly could. Um, the flags were bad. The flags were bad, and I don't know even where to, I don't want to put blame towards anybody because
Yeah.
it was just a choppy game. But when you have over, I would guess we close to 20 flags
Wow.
in that game. It's hard to play football. It's
Yeah.
hard to watch football, and we do it every single week. I'm not blaming I'm not blaming the officials. I'm not blaming either team. It's just one of those things that happened, and there was a lot of finger pointing. Even leaving the game, people were pointing to every. And it was just bad. And I don't want to say that it was just bad. It was bad football. But
Yeah.
take all of that and roll it up, and you go, wow, what impressed you? Clark Rutledge, sophomore quarterback, stud. He can sling it, dude. He had a couple passes that probably should have been touchdowns. Biggest takeaway, there's a kid named Zach Chanel in East Palestine, senior tailback, number 12. Circle him. As he goes, this team will go. He is, I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen a running back run like that, and he is an absolute dog. Um, Rutledge has weapons on either side of the wings. He's got Tanner Morrow. He's got Braden Plum, who is his favorite target tonight, but Morrow has been hot lately. But Palestine's balanced, and I heard Mr. Rhodes talk about the manipulation up front for United. That's going to be a huge key for them, and discipline is going to be huge for Palestine next week. But if Palestine can figure out the RPO, if Palestine can figure out the balance of Chanel versus trusting a sophomore quarterback, which they should because he plays like a senior, this might be the game of the year, boys. Like all eyes have to be on that game. I'm telling you, it's going to be magic. It's going to be magic next week. It's got all the makings. And we should put every entity on that game. That I'm saying that from my standpoint. We need to put every ounce of whatever we have on that because that's going to be an incredible game.
DJ, you were in East Palestine for the first time this season. I mean, I know you're in the community, you live in East Palestine, you interact with East Palestine people, but this is the first time you get to experience the excitement and atmosphere of East Palestine football this year. What is it like right now in East Palestine? What are they feeling as part of the Bulldog Nation?
So I'm going to correct you, not because I want to, but because I have to. This is the first time I've ever called a game of varsity football in Reed Memorial Stadium. And we've done this for 9 years. East Palestine, my alma mater. This is the first Bulldog game at home I've ever got to call. I've called, I believe, one other game a few years ago. Parker Sherry was a senior, and it was against Columbiana. So to answer your question, buddy, like they're excited to see Bulldog Jacks after wins, to see a community rally together, to see packed stands. The little kids, which we'll have on YSN tomorrow, the little Bulldogs, everybody's excited about East Palestine football. And Andy says it all the time. Andy Hake, when you've got a good football team in your community, you can pretty much do whatever you want. Everybody's excited. And football is one of those things in towns in America that brings everybody together. And, the community's so jazzed up. Now, we're a community that's been through a lot, right? But to have something we can all rally together around in a football team that's very young, still to this day, man, it's exciting for the future. I'm really excited. The sophomore and juniors that East Palestine have, and the seniors are standouts too, and I feel like we're overshadowing them. But man alive, I can't stop thinking about next week. I can't stop thinking about that East Palestine United game and just how good it's going to be for the conference championship.
I think you're right, DJ. I think as well, as Anthony was saying, just the same, just before you came on, when it comes to these big games like this, I don't know if you had the experience when you were like in high school and you got to, be a part of that within the actual high school itself, but it becomes a big deal. I was with a 9-0 team playing a 9-0 team in week 10 for the championship. So, and it's something that you can't forget. And it's something that you also just, as the entire week goes on, you can't stop thinking about it.
I mean, this team has a lot of similarities to some of the teams we've seen in the past. They're writing their own story right now, which I love. But I'll tell you that, like, I graduated in 2003, so 2002 would have been my senior year. Some of my best friends were on that team, and they were I'm the first team to ever make the playoffs. You know, and so it was electric in East Palace. Excuse me, I talked too much tonight. We had to fill some time. But it's one of those things where you look at what everybody everybody's eyes are wide open, just wide open to everything that's happening because they've gone through it. They've gone through the grinder over the past few years, decade, really, just about thereabouts. And they can't get enough of it right now. They can't get enough of East Palestine football because they've been starved for it or from it for so long, and I think that this community's going to support these boys and whatever they do. Now, I'm not going to say that they haven't been tested, but I will tell you that next week is their biggest test. Next week is their biggest test, bar none, and we're going to find out who this team is and how they battle through adversity, because I don't see this one going real big numbers either way. It's going to come down to who can make a stop.
And I think that the big thing for United on their side is probably their biggest test so far too. So I think both teams go into that week going,
Cressy's pretty good.
I forgot about Cressy. I was getting excited. But
Cressy's pretty good. Let's not forget about Cressy. Let's not be like everybody else.
Way to have my back, DJ.
I got you, buddy. Even though I heard this A-team thing from Roman.
That's not. We did not. Yeah, that's not copyrighted or anything. We haven't filed anything yet.
I didn't say I disagree, but I gotta say, man, he's got those sweet 31s. I'm gonna give you a little tour of the basement. He's got those. Oh,
that's very nice.
Sweet 31 behind him, and I got jealous. First off, jealous of his mustache, but secondly, jealous.
I was gonna bring that up.
He does. I got 31s. So if Romeo, hey, if we're doing 31s here, I got another one over there too. But that's here. See if I can get this. This turned into the Joe Dickey Electric. What's your basement look like? So we got that one.
Welcome to my crib.
Welcome to MTV Cribs, nice. Baby. MTV Cribs.
Based on my Columbiana math, all those 31s, that's like 300.
Oh, right.
I don't know. I'm from East Palestine. We don't do math. We just talk.
We have Greg McAfee popping up in the background, and he's someone that's always fun to talk to.
What's up, guys?
Hey, where's your 31, McAfee?
What's up?
Where's your 31s at?
I don't got one. I got a Josh Allen right there.
That's pretty good.
17.
There you go.
It's almost half a 31. I mean, more than half a 31, I should say. A little bit more than half.
I got my Bills gear around. We're good.
McAfee, what were some of your big takeaways? I know you've had a chance to look at the scoreboard today. What were some of your big takeaways from the night?
Yeah, Canfield. I mean, big win over Hickory. Cardinals are for real. I got a chance to talk to Joe Ignacio earlier this week and Enzo Coca, and their big thing is the standard they've built over there at Canfield year in, year out. He said, they shocked some people week one when they beat West Branch, and they continued to do so week after week, and that continued tonight when they beat Hickory, a team that has dogs all over the place.
Yeah, Canfield definitely does. And one of the things that I noticed about that game, again, for Canfield, their defense is kind of the hallmark of that team. Their defense lets their offense kind of do their thing, find their rhythm, because you're not going to score more than, they did 10 tonight, but you're not going to score more than 17 or 20 points against this Canfield defense.
When you have a guy like Landon China on the defensive side, who's, as DJ has said, a Greek god, that it makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say from the standpoint, I didn't know. Yeah, I was waiting for you guys. But when it comes to the Canfield team, I mean, playing Hickory by itself, I was kind of amazed at the score by itself. Not shocked by any means, but amazed that the way that game went down for them, and coming away with a victory. In terms of as the season goes on, Was there anything that stood out that was a little bit different for this Canfield team than that he didn't really go to in their traditional games, or was they kind of just the more of the same from the Canfield offense?
Oh, I didn't get to cover the Canfield game tonight.
Okay.
I just
That was the biggest surprise.
He's already watched film, man.
That was just my biggest surprise. I covered Holland East tonight.
That was a pretty close game, man.
Great game. I mean, DJ can speak to this a little bit too. First game of the year, we were at Bo Ryan Stadium. The Howland team I saw tonight was not the Howland team I saw week 1. They moved the ball fluidly on offense. They passed the ball well. Darren Douglas really improved under center. They took advantage of East in the middle of the secondary tonight to score 2 touchdowns in the first half, and then the defense locked up East throughout the game. They had a big 4th down stop on their own 2-yard line to force a turnover on downs on East's first drive, and then senior lineman Christian Schwager recovered a fumble recovery on the final drive of the game to basically seal it. So big ups to the Howland defense tonight for standing tall.
Howland defense standing tall, and one of the things, their offense just found clutch ways to come through. I mean, it wasn't like a offensive performance that you'd write home about, but it was one that they kind of found those game-winning plays. And this is a program that has struggled to make game-winning plays in the past. So what do you see from the ability to just come in the clutch and make those game-winning type plays that you have to become a consistent program?
Well, I mean, the offense, they really took what the defense was giving them. They found this zone in the middle of the East secondary that they really took advantage of throughout the game. Their first offensive drive lasted 3 plays. Christian Nielsen, I believe, blanking on the name now, caught a pass in the middle of the secondary, turned and scored a 53-yard touchdown. And they continued to take advantage of that zone throughout the game to move the ball down the field. And then their second score, Darren Douglas, capped it off with a 40-yard touchdown run. And then they were able to put themselves in position again. Jack Litton hit a 29-yard field goal to kind of put the game out of reach there. So really it was an all-around effort for Howland tonight. And they really came up big when they needed to, especially on the defensive side, which is, good for them kind of moving forward. I mean, they got a tough schedule year in and year out. I think they still have Boardman. I think they still have Mooney. I think they have Hubbard next week. Maybe I could be wrong. But they got a tough schedule coming up, and a win like this can build confidence after going 1-9 last year.
Greg, what did sorry, I tried to raise my hand. I knew you. I probably didn't. I tried to
people asking me questions.
Greg, we've seen this East offense, just the run game has been outstanding. Did Howland just take that away, or what was it that really stood out about the defense?
So the East offense, I think they were missing a couple players. I think they didn't have Tyrese Davis on the outside. I didn't see him at all tonight. And they didn't have Waller, I believe his name is, the linebacker, on the defensive side. But it was really like they couldn't really get a lot of offense going in the first half. And then they kind of adjusted in the second half. And really, we talk about young quarterbacks, DJ, like sophomores, juniors. Like, I might have to throw Jaden Irving on the list as well, because the guy really lit it up in the second half with his legs. He had a couple huge runs, 19 yards, 20 yards. He had a big 53-yard run in the first half to put them in position to score. So Howland was able to really limit the normal running game, running backs, things like that. But Irving they were trying to pass the ball throughout the second half, but he was just getting forced out of the pocket, and he was forced to use his legs and pick up scramble yards, basically.
All right, Greg, what a call it was for you. Sorry, I just screen you on accident. What a call it was for you, man. Like always. I mean, no surprise there. I feel you're turning into big game, Greg. Every game you go to ends up being close down the stretch. You're kind of taking that mantle. So thanks for coming on. We can't wait to have
I've
you.
Had a couple blowouts.
You're making up for it. You're making up for last time. We can't wait to have you on Overreaction Monday on YSN Live Monday. We'll see you then, because we have Patrick Bryan also coming on with us. He was in a wild one as Valley Christian took on Lisbon. Patrick, how we doing today? Long day for you. What a long first half that was.
I never thought I'd witness a game with that long of a first half ever until tonight. An hour, 40-minute, almost 2-hour first half had everybody in the stands like, is this first half over yet? Because it just would not stop. Referees kept going down. Injuries kept popping up. Like, everybody's going down tonight.
When referees go down, that's when you know you're in for a treat.
Yeah.
Obviously, Lisbon got the win. They were able to hold on 38-34, the final score. But Valley Christian made this such an interesting game down the stretch in the second half. What did you see from the Eagles fighting back down the stretch of this game?
So the final stretch of the game, there was no score in the third quarter at all. Like, nobody scored. But I would give Valley Christian this. They were able to stop Lisbon's defense there in the third quarter. But when it came to the fourth quarter, it was like, what's going to happen? Because they have no timeouts left in the fourth quarter. They used all 3 timeouts within 5 minutes of the third quarter starting.
Wow.
Yeah. And when it came down to it, Miller was coming up with the big run plays. But then there was a couple plays where you're like, what is he doing? Why is he like running backwards and not throwing the ball away? Because he would run out of bounds going backwards. And people from Lisbon that were below the press box, like, why didn't he just throw it away? Like, you're losing more yardage just running out of bounds backward behind the line of scrimmage than you are just throwing it away.
Yeah, he's a kid. That's what kids do. I mean, listen, you can watch on Saturdays and Sundays, and adults make stupid mistakes too. It's a learning thing. And I think you're talking about Dion Miller.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a stud. He was a stud last year, one of the best quarterbacks in the state from a QBR standpoint. Obviously, they don't throw the ball as much, but I mean, you look at what these two teams were able to do against each other tonight. I mean, what was the tail of the tape? Ashton Hinchcliffe obviously had something to do with it, didn't he?
Yeah, he was a big factor in this game. Besides him going down a couple of times, which he was dealing with a couple injuries. We don't know what they were, but like he kept going down, kept popping up, going right back in the game, like battling through it. Although he was like probably not feeling the best towards the end, he was like there when they needed him to be. In big plays, he was showing up when he needed to, like, get him done, get him in the like scoring range and everything that they needed to get done. Because their kicker tonight, he was not getting it done on his end. He was 2 for 5 on PATs tonight.
Who's kicker?
Lisbon's.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's tough nights, right? It's welcome to football in Ohio. It's not always going to be easy.
Yeah, I mean, Ashton Hink laying it down there in the second half. Like they were showing up, battling back, giving everything they got. But overall, the offenses were overpowering each defense. Like they were all out, just like a brawl up on the front.
Ashton Hinchcliffe battling through injuries for his team. That is the definition of a dog right there. And we know it. We've known it for a while that he's been a different kind of animal. But when you're able to show everyone on this team that I will do whatever it takes to drag us across the finish line, if my hips are bruised, if my legs are bruised, it doesn't matter. You'll have to take me off in a stretcher to get me out of this game. That's the kind of leader you want. And he's not just getting stats. He's showing everybody on that team in that locker room, I'm here for you. I have your back no matter what it takes. We're going to get a win because I'm going to will us to victory. I love hearing players like that.
Yeah, from what a couple of Valley Christian coaches that were up in the box was telling me, this is the toughest game they've had to play with this close to a score. I was like, I'll give them credit. Lisbon's a great team. They know when to show up, how to battle, and when to not give up. Like Valley Christian was like, wow, this is insane. I've never had a game go on for this long, this tough of a battle, and seeing kids give it their all when they're all down and tired, ready to quit, ready to go home, ready to go to bed.
You sound like you're ready to go to bed, PB. Thanks for doing yeoman's work tonight, man. Great job.
Yep. Thank you.
You got it.
All right, Patrick Bryan, he called the Valley Christian and Lisbon game, and we have in the studio one more announcer, Logan. He called the Brookfield Crestview game. Logan Sarmas, he's going to come on, and I'll text him so he can know to pop in. But he'll come on and he'll talk to us about that Crestview Brookfield game that we said when we did the scoreboard.
Yeah,
Crestview gets the win, but a little bit closer than maybe some people expected.
Yeah, I was surprised to kind of see what the score ended up being, just in terms of how close the game was. I mean, Brookfield, didn't come away with the victory, but they still have a lot of talent on that team, and they can surprise some teams the rest of the way through.
What was the score, guys?
Final score is 28-12.
Thank you. I'm sitting there on pins and needles like, all right, what do we got?
28-12. And here he is. Anthony, we'll let you pop out for a second, and then we'll have Logan come in and talk about this Crestview Brookfield game.
Ant, how's it going? How's it going?
We're going really well, man. You had a great game tonight in Crestview, Brookfield. We always talk about this game. It is always physical, and no matter what year they're playing or who's on the teams. These are two teams that are known for being very hard-nosed, very physical football teams. Did you get that from tonight too?
When I tell you, me and Chris went into the game, we thought we were walking in. Chris is like, I think it'll be a running clock. And I'm like, I mean, that wouldn't be bad and all, but I've had really good games all season, and I had another really good one tonight. And just credit to Coach Clark's Brookfield team. Like, they had a lot of injuries tonight, and my prayers go out to all their players who got injured. They stuck in there tonight with Crestview the entire night. They struck first. They were winning 6-0 going into the second quarter, and then Crestview scored right before halftime to take a 7-6 lead. But it's like with Brookfield, they just kept running the ball. And it was working great for them with a young quarterback in Hammond. And then, Rico did an amazing job running the ball. And it's just like they don't need a running clock. Like a running clock will happen in every Brookfield game for the simple fact that they're just running the ball. You don't have to worry about them passing it because you're not going to have those incompletions that'll stop the clock. And their defense, I felt, played an amazing job against a very explosive Crestview offense so far this season.
This is a Crestview team that now 2 weeks in this season where we've seen them kind of have a slow start offensively, but then figure things out, let their defense bide them time. We saw it in the Liberty game. We saw this game. When did the offense start to click and find ways to put it in the end zone?
So I think the offense started to click similar to when I did the Liberty game in week 4. It really started to click in the second half. And, I mean, I didn't talk to Coach Perry after this game, but after talking to him in the Liberty game, he said the biggest thing they did that game was just they went into halftime and they regrouped, came together and just talked about the mistakes they made and how they're going to fix them. And obviously, I think that's what he did tonight. They came out and it wasn't a different Crestview team. It was just a cleaner Crestview team because they cleaned up mistakes. And huge shout out to Jake Noling. I mean, that kid is a dual threat quarterback. He could throw it. He could run it. He had a 69-yard pass to, I forget whoever number 7 is on Crestview. He threw it to him and it was a beautiful pass. I thought he was in. The refs marked him down at the 1. And then, they just, Mikey Proctor ran it in for the touchdown. So they did an amazing job tonight. And I think that's credit to Coach Perry, his offense, and Jake Noling at quarterback, because that kid is a stud.
Sure is. Like, you've seen him now in person a couple of times. Where do you think he falls under the players that you've seen from other schools and obviously the other studs that we have in the YSN network? Where would you kind of the conversation for MVP? I
think if he can make a strong case these next 4 weeks, he for sure is. But a player I haven't seen this year that I wish I have, or maybe I will in the coming weeks, is I really want to see AJ Pearson play. I mean, that is an electric quarterback from what I've heard from everybody. And from what everybody's saying, like, I think Jake Noling he's right up there with Pearson, and he's another really talented quarterback. But like, one thing about quarterbacks this year that I've noticed is they're running the ball a lot more than usual. I'm not seeing a lot of quarterbacks that are airing it out often. The quarterbacks I've seen can air it out and they could get it done on their feet. I think that's important for a team to have, is when, like, because Brookfield did it tonight. Brookfield really shut down the passing game for Crestview. But when you shut down the passing game for Crestview, you're opening up a whole can of worms to open up that really good run game, because they have 2 really talented running backs with a really talented quarterback.
Well, and I think that's because it's hard to go one-on-one against Crestview because they have receivers that can win one-on-one. So if you want to stop their pass game, you have to allocate those resources. And if you do that, you're not allocating them to the run game. And Crestview's like, all right, pick your poison. You want to pick pass? We'll just run it down your throat. And Proctor's definitely up for that challenge. He's like, yeah, let's do it.
And I thought Brookfield did an amazing job at running the ball tonight. I mean, they gave the ball to Hammond. He would just do a QB run, and he did a great job. If the line was collapsing on the inside, he'd cut to the outside and break those tackles. And most quarterbacks are running for, I'd say, like 2, 3, 4 yards a carry. These quarterbacks tonight were rushing for 7, 8 yards a carry.
Blake Hammond is a dude. He was our YSN Freshman of the Year in basketball season ago, and now a sophomore quarterback for this Brookfield team. He is definitely one of those athletes that can do seemingly everything.
Yeah.
All right, so when you talk about ahead for Crestview, they still have some big matchups in the MVAC. Garfield's looming in the horizon. What do you think? What's the stepping for? What do you want to see a little bit better, a little bit more sharp, so you can say confidently they can win the MVAC grade tier?
I say the biggest thing for Crestview is definitely they need to start off hot. I think they're doing a great job playing in the second half, but the deeper they get into conference play, they're going to play really good teams, and there might be a time to where if you start off slow, it's going to be too late at some point. So I think if they could clean up their first half mistakes and play every quarter like they do the second half, they'll be in great shape.
DJ, got anything?
How dangerous would Crestview be if they played all 4 quarters? You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking.
I think that's a team like I saw tonight. Like they scored 7 in just the first half, and that's what I saw when they played Liberty. But then you see Liberty, they're putting up like 3 touchdowns, like 2 touchdowns a quarter. And I mean, if they could start off hot like that, I think they'll easily be a team that could score 50 a game.
And that's a dangerous team because that kind of play travels. But I think, if you're looking at, and if we're looking for anything, because Crestview's still undefeated, right?
Yep.
To this point, if we're looking for anything that Crestview can continue to challenge themselves and get better, it's can we be more consistent over 4 quarters of football? Because if they are consistent from, like you said, from the beginning, from the kickoff to the final whistle, I don't think there's going to be many teams that are going to be able to compete with Crestview.
And it's like their offense, they're a really talented offense. And like me and Chris talked about tonight on the broadcast, like the further you go into the playoffs, now that the playoffs have shrunken from 16 to 12 teams, that first team you play is going to be a really talented team. So they're going to have their hands full in the first week of the playoffs. If they win out, they get that number 1 seed in their region like they do right now. You get that bye week. So that bye week, if they get that, I think that's going to be a week to where they'll clean up mistakes they made in the regular season. You have you have 5 practice days. You have a Monday through Friday practice day. Then you have a 4-day practice week the following week. That's 9 practice days to just clean up your mistakes that you made in the regular season. I think Coach Perry will focus on that, jump off to an early start.
Well, not only you have a home game too. And it's different in the home of the Rebels. I mean, it's different. They come out and it's black and gold, and you will know that you played Crestview at Crestview whenever you play them on the road.
And in the playoffs, that too, that'll add some extra passion to it.
Yeah, another thing they have going for them, of course, is that defense doesn't slump, right? So I think Crestview knows if we score 34 points, like no one's going to touch us.
Yeah.
Like with our defense. So
I really thought tonight, I really thought at some point tonight Brookfield was going to win. But what I think hurt them a lot was early in the Brookfield's first possession, or not Brookfield, Crestview's first possession, Brookfield played amazing defense. Not AJ Pearson. I'm just thinking about the kid. I want to go watch him. Jake Nolan aired it out, and Brookfield played amazing coverage, and they intercepted the ball. So me and Chris were talking throughout the game, like they had that big interception. The momentum shifted. They didn't score on that drive, and then when they went for the PAT after they scored, they missed the PAT, and then they missed the 2-point conversion when they scored the second time. That's all stuff we were saying, like Coach Clark's got to be wondering about, like, okay, if I made this, and that, this game would have been a lot tighter. But unfortunately, they can't control the injuries, and they lost their starting running back due to cramps, and then they lost their starting quarterback due to a hard hit. So,
yeah, that's just not a fun night when you have to deal with that kind of adversity, and you have to deal with already playing one of the best teams in the area on top of it. Tall mountain to climb, but Brookfield fought the whole night, which is what you can commend them for. Logan, thank you so much for coming on the Scoreboard Show. Great call, like always.
Thank you.
Where are you at next week? Do you know yet?
I am actually off next week. I have to do the cameras for YSU soccer.
Well,
next
you'll be
week.
Fired.
Thanks, guys. Hey, it was a fun 6 weeks of business. Working with you guys. But,
thanks,
I'll
LT.
be back. I told Chris I'll be back for whatever game's on October 10th. So I'll see you guys then. Good seeing you guys.
Thanks, LT. See you, buddy.
See you, DJ.
We were going to give you a Gerard game until you decided.
I wouldn't mind.
Well, there goes that.
Listen, if I'm off and I'm not doing anything, the South Range Mooney game, that's going to be a big game, October 17th.
Maybe
big day. LT turns 19 that day. It'll be a huge day for everybody. So I'll see you guys
later, buddy.
See you guys.
Good job, man.
I'll see you.
Get him a birthday cake,
So, you get him a birthday cake.
I'm not doing it.
It's called accountability, Anthony. It's called accountability.
I'll get him some cupcakes, maybe. Some cupcakes.
There's no cupcakes tonight, man.
No. Anthony Malone back in the seat, and we will go over that scoreboard one more time because now every score has been finalized by our very own Mike Swinehart. He did some digging to get that Mohawk score.
Yeah, he did.
But he found it somehow. I don't know where he pulled it out, but he found it. So we officially have a complete scoreboard on ysnlive.com/scores, brought to you by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. Union Local beats Beaver Local 33-14, the final score in that one. Mooney all over Boardman, 35-7. East Liverpool takes out some frustration on Cambridge, 34-0, the final score. The Potters score a
Paul
bunch.
Cusick, baby.
And then Campbell Memorial gets a win on the road in Western Reserve, 24-19, Red Devils over Blue Devils.
And we heard earlier today, Howland 18, East 14, Youngstown East, that final. Brookfield 12, Crestview 28, our final score for Crestview, picking up another victory. Conneaut 46, Jefferson Area 21, our final. And Cheney with a big win against Niles, 54-0 was the final score there.
We go back up to Ashtabula County. Geneva lost a heartbreaker last week to Perry. They bounced back this week with a win over Edgewood, 42-14, the final. The Eagles are victorious. Canfield with a big win over Hickory, coming across the border from PA, 21-10. Cardinals get the win over the Hornets. Hubbard all over Struthers, 31-6, the final score there. Eagles fly. And then Springfield with a very convincing win over Jackson Milton, 42-6, the final score there.
Over to Liberty 56, Newton Falls nothing was the final score there. Girard once again with another big victory, 35-0, scoring over 30 points once again in another game. Lakeside 21, Madison 53, our final. LeBray 38, Champion 13, final score.
Louisville comes back, gets a shutout, 21-0 over Canton Central Catholic on the road. The Leopards are back in the win column. Perry has a comfortable win, and they kind of feel good because they've had some very uncomfortable wins in the last couple of weeks in a very close games. Not this time. Parrots all over Lutheran West, 41-6, the final score. Middle Ridge proves they can take their show on the road as they go to Lowville, and they win 48-16 over the Rockets. And then Salem falls in a high-scoring affair to Alliance, 49-34. The Aviators get the win there.
United 49, Letonia 8 was the final score for United, setting up a huge game next week against East Palestine. My alma mater picks up another victory. Columbiana 37, Southern 14, final score. Southeast 10, Garfield 48, final score. And the game I called earlier today that was certainly a surprise for me. South Range nothing, Poland 34, final score.
That snaps a 36-game win streak for South Range inside the NE8 dating back to October 4th, 2019 at Niles, where they lost 35-34 in overtime to the Dragons. And that's the first time in my memory where we see the Raiders get shut out in a game. You got to probably go way back to find the last time that happened. Yeah. So very impressive for the Bulldogs. They made a statement tonight, and they have a couple of big games left on the NE8 schedule, but that's win number 1 for the check mark. Valley Christian and Lisbon play in a very close game and probably the best game of the night. Lisbon holds on 38-34 over Valley Christian in a game that they were up handedly. Valley Christian tried to make a comeback and Lisbon hangs on. East Palestine gets the win over Wellsville, 40-6, the final score there. The East Palestine Bulldogs are 6-0. The Bobcats get the win over McGuffey, which is my favorite school to say now, 42-6, the final score there. And McDonald travels to Waterloo and gets a win, 47-13, the final there.
Warren JFK, a huge win against St. Thomas Aquinas this week tonight. 53-0 was the final score. Fairport Harding gets the victory against Pymatuning Valley, 19-14. Final score finally for Orange and Harvey. Harvey 46, Orange 42, the final score. Mohawk 28, Union Area. Finally, we get a final score here. I should say that part. This is final. Mohawk 28, Union Area PA 21. Mohawk picks up the victory.
In the game that had a lot of eyes across not just the area but the state of Ohio, Hoban and Walsh lived up to the hype. Hoban wins with a touchdown with about 40 seconds left in the game. 19-14. Knights get the win over the Warriors. Minerva and West Branch. West Branch gets the win, giving the Lions their second loss of the season, 56-6, the final there. And then Matthews beats Windham 40-14 in Matthews. So that was a home game for the Mustangs. They get the win over the Bombers to round out the scoreboard on YSN Live.
Question. What was the East Liverpool score?
East Liverpool got the win. Let me scroll back up to it. Hang tight because it was at the top. East Liverpool got the win 34-0 over Cambridge.
Paul Cusick's 200th win.
Wow.
Let's go. That is 2
Congratulations, Coach.
2 weeks in a row we've had coaches get 200 wins. Coach Spate last week, and now
Yes, he did.
now Coach Cusick this week. Old rivals from Columbiana County.
Yeah.
Both doing it back-to-back weeks. So that's really impressive to see.
My uncle played with Coach Cusick at Columbiana back in 1986, and he was the fullback when Cusick was the running back. So it's fun to hear that he got his 200.
Yeah, there you go. So congratulations to Coach Cusick. What a great night it was. Week 6 of the high school football season on Friday has been wrapped up. I got to see and make sure. Do we have games tomorrow?
1.
Let me look on the scoreboard.
1. St. John.
Yeah. 1 game tomorrow. So we still are waiting on that one to say that week 6 is officially in the book. St. John will be on the road against Grand Valley. That'll be a 7 o'clock start. And that will be on the network, I believe.
Yep.
So we'll have that one for you live on ysnlive.com/live-games. But that wraps up the Friday nights Joe Dickey Electric Scoreboard show. We will roll and give it to our friends over at 21 WFMJ for the OT report with Brittany Bissell and Dana Ballish. We thank them for all they do for high school sports in the area. And we want to kind of send it over to them. For Anthony Hartwig, Anthony Malone, DJ Oakley, everyone at YSN, we thank you so much for coming on with us for week 6. And we will see you next week for the Audible Call, all the live games, and, of course, the Joe Dickey Electric Scoreboard show.
YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of your sports network. For stories, stats, and more, go to ysnlive.com.